on this computer. Hello, everyone that's watching the replay. We are just about to get started. So anyone who's here right now, feel free to unmute yourself and show your face if you're brave. And come on and introduce yourself. Zach, how about you? So the reason my brother Zach is here is because he is joining my team. So for 7 years, I've been working all by myself, writing curriculum and teaching full-time and doing all the social media stuff, like blogging, all of it, like making videos for YouTube, my podcast, and it's insane. It's insanity. Hi, Jody. And so I hired my brother to help me. And so he's been helping me edit my podcast. Hi, Zach. Do you want to say hi? I can't hear you yet. So he lives in Seattle, Washington, which is where I'm from. And I just wanted to introduce him to you all because he's awesome. He just took a bunch of information writing lessons that I had written up, and he like formatted them all nice for me, and it took like 2 hours. So he's doing a lot of awesome stuff. I can't hear you though, Zach. Are you?
I think I figured it out.
Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. So I joined Amanda here recently, helping her out doing some of the more menial tasks so she can focus on creating awesome content for you all. So hopefully the two of us can help put out a lot of good stuff for you all.
Yeah, we're using Powtoon to create like cartoon videos for students and putting them on YouTube, and hopefully we'll have a new cartoon video, or like more than one or two, hopefully each month. Have you been playing around with Powtoon, Zach? I love making cartoon videos. My students love them, and I feel like it's just such an engaging way to teach like skills. Have you played with Powtoon yet?
Yeah, a little bit, not too much. I haven't had too much time to look at it, but I'm definitely going to probably later this afternoon.
Oh, cool. And Zach, he works for the Conservation Corps, right?
Yeah, so I work for the Washington State Department of Ecology, but more specifically the Washington Conservation Corps, which is a job training program for folks that are 18 to 25 years old. And we do riparian restoration. So we work along like streams and waterways in Washington State, installing native plants and removing invasive plants.
Yeah, and he only works 4 days a week, and he wants to make some more money. So I'm paying him to like help me out with all sorts of things. So thanks, Zach, for coming on. You can if you want to hide, you can. I don't mind. I know it's kind of embarrassing to be on camera. It's hard. It's like scary. Okay. Jody, do you want to introduce yourself? It's so nice to see you. I feel like I like know you from all our emailing.
It's so nice to see you and be able to talk to you, Amanda. Yes, I will introduce myself. So can you hear me okay?
I can. I have headphones on, but I don't think I need them.
So my name is Jody Hernandez. I'm actually talking to you right now from Japan. So it's 8 a.m. Sunday morning here in Japan. I teach military students here. So our families, the families of military that are living abroad, serving abroad, I teach their kids. This is my first year teaching ELA, and I'm so grateful. I spent all summer really trying to figure out, I guess I loved your video about how to fit it in, and workshops seem to make the most sense to me. And so I have like devoured all of your content, all of your videos, and I just really want to thank you for helping it to make sense for me. And I've just decided to dive in. So that's where we're at. We're still finishing up launch week, and then we'll get into fiction here at the end of next week.
I just muted myself because there's a plane going by. I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm going to mute myself if there's like noise in the background. That is so awesome, Jody. I really appreciate that feedback, because sometimes I feel like I don't know. I have no idea, like, if I'm making any sort of difference unless
Right.
someone tells me, right? So
Mhm.
that it just means so much to me. And yeah, I'm all about. I used to be. My website used to be called School Days Simplified because I feel like our jobs are so hard and it's so stressful and like just kids and just their many needs and all the things we have to do, and I'm just always looking for ways to make things easier for myself and for other people, and I feel like workshop is like just the perfect way to do that. And by the way, PS, my brother was born in Japan.
That's so cool.
Yeah, but our parents were in the Navy, and so yeah, he was born in Japan. So
So yeah, so that's exactly how things work for my students.
why are you there?
I'm here teaching. So I got a job as a Spanish teacher. I've taught Spanish for the last 5 years. Here teaching for the Department of Defense.
See if they could residency.
Okay, cool. Meg, do you want? Hi, I'm so glad you're here again.
Yeah,
Can you hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm trying to figure out. I can hear everyone, but like barely. So I'm trying to figure out what that is, but
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it's because
I
I'm
heard
outside.
Jody when she was talking, so mine is coming through. So I can tell you where I am. Where we have had 2 weeks of school, and for everyone else, I teach on the lower end, so I teach 5th grade, and I've done a lot of the launch unit. My kids this year are really low. So I think I'm going to have to do some adjusting. Not only are they really low, but I've got some real behavior issues. So some of the, I've gone through the volume lesson and stuff like that, and I'm not there yet. Like on the 0, 1, 2, 3. I have kids who are not aware that they're talking when they're talking. So I think it's, it's complicated because they don't know that they're talking when they're talking. They have attention issues, and I have one who has kind of oppositional defiant disorder. So I feel like I have my hands full. But I'm working through. So the only thing that's going to be a little bit different for me is, so I'm gonna finish the launch unit. The kids are reading up a storm, though. That's what's great. They are reading up a storm. But I'm gonna do the stamina unit on writing. But I mean, some of these kids like are so afraid of writing and have such attention issues that like writing one sentence is a lot for them. So I'm working on that. But in October, our 5th and 6th grade at my school are going to do the global read aloud with Pernil Rip. So we'll be doing a reading unit then, not a writing unit. So I'll just have to play around with things. So that's it from me.
Well, okay, so that's October.
Yeah, that's the whole. It's October, and it's kind of a 6-week unit. Kind of goes into November.
So what's it called? I
It's
know
called
who Pernille Rip is.
the global read aloud. So you choose one of 3 books depending on your grade level, and people around the world read it, and you connect classroom. I've done it the past 2 years. So you connect through Flipgrid or Pen Pals, depending on how techy you want to be. And then we're also going to kind of connect with our 6th grade. So it's interesting. So that'll be one of the few times when we are all reading. It's not even really that, well, we are all reading the same book, but it's not so much done as a novel study as done as a read aloud. The kids still have their independent reading books going too.
So does Pernille Rip put all the books on her website at some point?
No, I mean, it's not. So basically she has the global read aloud website, and then you can vote on the books. Like I think it was over the summertime. Sorry, I just had to move rooms. And then they choose a book. So I think the books for 6th to 8th grade was Refugee. The book for kind of 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, I mean, there's overlapping, is Front Desk, which is what I'm reading. And it's all about kind of an immigrant experience in California. And since I'm in California, I think that's kind of nice for the kids. And we're really going to try to tie it into some current events with the immigrant experience, at our border. And then I can't remember what the book is for like 3rd and 4th grade, but, it's all very much do as much as you want. The Global Read Aloud website provides all kinds of like connections to other classes. And last year when we read Amal Unbound, a couple of teachers, I think one of them might have been one of the gals who does HyperDocs, put this amazing like full unit together with all these great connections to things. So it's kind of fun, but that'll have me a little bit not on your schedule.
Well, I have to tell you, I'm not on my schedule either.
Okay.
This is like my dream world schedule. And, I have a team and they have their like agenda that I'm following too. So yeah, I figure at the end of the year, I'll have a book. Like I can publish a book.
Yeah.
With all these lessons that I've been writing lessons for 7 years, but like I'm piecing everything I have together and making it like awesome,
So, one thing I would love if anyone else wants to contribute in is to talk a little bit about, maybe since it's kind of still the beginning of the year, maybe even though we're all different grade levels, a little bit about management and behavior. I don't want to monopolize it, but maybe a 5-minute conversation if anyone else is interested in that. Like I know on the consequences, like how soon do I reach out to parents and kind of, how long do I kind of like, and I've talked to the kids privately and said like, I don't know if you're aware that you're talking when it's like silent writing time. And like, that's the thing. I don't, if they're not aware, do I like, how does the consequence work? Like, right. You have to be aware of something in order to address it.
Yeah. So is it just one kid or is it multiple?
Well, it's complicated, but I don't want to take, like, I feel badly talking if, like, do you want to, are there other people you want to talk to first when we come back to this?
Well, I think this is a really good topic to talk about. And yeah, let's just go there.
Okay. So this is, so I'll try to be as succinct as possible. This is their group. So this class has been a challenge for all the teachers from like 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade. They're kind of 4 boys that are three boys that are pretty problematic. One has support. Like we're an independent school, and for this child to be in the school, like they pay outside for an aide who's in kind of half the time. He's got some anger management issues, and he's like he won't write, and he kind of flips out if you make him write. So, and the aide is phenomenal. So he's less of an issue because the family have addressed the problem. But then there are 2 other boys, one child who is oppositional defiant, and the parents refuse to see it. And it's even more complicated because it's the child of an administrator in our school. So really, what I think the teachers feel is if this child would get evaluated, like it doesn't mean he has to take medication. You just have more information about what's getting in the way. He argues back against everything. He's not aware that he talks like constantly. And then, I don't know, I remember someone telling me back when I was kind of doing my master's that you often have a class that's kind of, you have a rough percentage often of like a third. You have a third of the kids who kind of pretty much do the right thing all the time, even if there's distractions. And then you have a third of the kids that can be challenging. And you have that middle third that if the challenging kids get any power, they pull them off task too, right? They don't have enough, either their executive functioning or their sense of themselves isn't strong enough that they're going to go where the kids who are more distracting kind of take them. So that's where I feel I'm playing around, is these 2 or 3 kids who can be loud and distracted. They're not disrespectful to me. They're not like defying me, and I feel like I have a good relationship with them, but they're so not aware that they're kind of talking constantly.
And
So
are they
it's
good
hard.
friends?
Yes.
Okay. Um,
And they're very physical.
can I just say, this is why part of the reason I love teaching middle school is it's like they're not in the same room, because you're fifth grade, right?
Yeah.
And they're together all day
Not
long.
only they get all day long, and we only have one fifth grade class, so they've been together like 4 years straight.
Yeah, and like I see my brother smiling here because I'm pretty sure he was one of those boys. Like he was, yeah. So, how much space do you have in your room? Because sometimes I feel like this, like just using the space.
Yeah.
Do you have like very little space or a lot of
I
space?
have a fair amount, and this year I only have 18 kids instead of 24, so I have less kids. And I have like a separate table, and I have a separate, like I have a couch and a bean bag. But I'm trying to right now, because they're some of them, their executive functioning skills are so poor that I'm kind of saying the couch is for only when you're reading, because I feel like once they get on the couch, they've lost the sense of like, I need to write or I need to do this. So right now we're just using the couch like when either their partner reading or independent reading or something like that. But I do have like a back table, but like they can't even sit still. Like they can't. And I mean, I think that is out of their control. I think that, they don't realize they can't sit still. It just makes it like, it's an exhausting day.
And so is it like even in the morning, or is it mostly like in the later?
No, I'm at my daughter's house and I have her two dogs jumping around too. So, it's all day long.
Yeah.
We even for this class moved PE up 2 days a week to 9 o'clock in the morning to see if they got some like energy out, if it would, and I haven't noticed it helping. So anyway, that's just more, I'm just trying to figure out like how I have a consequence if they don't follow. Like they understand the noise level thing. Like you can ask them, like they're bright kids. They understand it. They just can't follow it.
Yeah. Oh, so hard. And I totally feel you, because I've been there before, and I feel like I'm so lucky this year. I don't even know. My kids are angels this year, like compared to last year.
Yeah.
And it's like every class has its own personality, it's, and last year's class was like notorious, and now they're the high schools. they're freshmen now.
Right. I mean, I guess my question is, like, I know in your lesson things, you're like, keep going. I am going to keep going back to it. And I have like chimes I use, and I ask them to, when they hear the chime, like really try to listen until they can't hear it anymore. And the two boys talk all the time, often don't even hear the chime. So they are just, so I feel like what I need to do next week is send an email home and just say, I'm not gonna put it in the email, just say I'd like to touch base, next week by phone and have a conversation with them. I don't want to put anything in writing because I think they get very defensive. Like I don't want anything in writing that would somehow say that I'm, not feeling positive about their kids. So I think I checked in with these two families before school started because I knew that they would need a check-in just to say, just to get to know their kid, what their hopes and dreams were. So I think I will start with a conversation.
Well, and I do think some kids need like individualized plans. Like my daughter just started kindergarten, and apparently she is the worst behaved in the entire kindergarten class. Like I've already met with her teacher. I don't know if I told Zach this, but it was like, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I'm so glad that I don't work at this school because like this, and you said the admin. So she actually recommended this book called 1, 2, 3 Magic. And I know this is like a parenting book.
Right.
Have you heard of it?
No. I'm going to write it down though. Okay.
It's called 1, 2, 3 Magic. It's a parenting book, but I'm finding that, and then I also am listening to this other parenting book called Listen, and it's all about and I was actually thinking about doing a Facebook Live about this, because I feel like at the same time I'm learning how to be a better parent, I'm learning how to be a better teacher. And so
Right.
the one that's called Listen is all about how important it is to like have really, really good relationships with your child. And I think that means the same thing in your
Yeah.
classroom, you know, like asking your kids to help, like be helpers, you know, and
Right.
like, because they're so go, 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 maybe
Right.
they could organize your library. And that's why I love make writing, because I'm bringing
I'm
Legos.
thinking I need to bring some of that in.
Yeah, because it's more fun, and they're
Yeah.
like, and it's
And
like,
the one kid I have who is kind of has an aid, like he is so really incapable of sitting down and writing anything. So I think maybe make writing might be some way to go. And
yeah,
he's so down on himself that and we're doing a lot of kind of growth mindset work and you know, about you, like, you know, so it's hard for you to write right now, but it doesn't mean it will always be hard. So
mhm.
I think I will look into the make writing. I have the book, so.
Yeah, and like everything you're saying is making me, and I know I saw that multiple people in the comments, I don't know if you've noticed, but Kirby said she's having similar problems. And someone else said that earlier too. Maybe it was Kelly, I can't remember. Okay, Donna, Kirby, and Meg are all, and I've definitely had these issues in years past. And my fifth period has same thing. There's like 3 or 4 boys, super social. They just want to play, and talk. So I think this is a really important topic, and I think it'd be great to bring it up more in the Facebook group and in emails, and maybe even write a little bit about it.
Yeah, and maybe I'll take on as a project some kind of a make writing mini unit or something, and maybe you know, I'll take it on and share it with a group or something.
Yeah, and I really I want to try and incorporate more of that. And I don't know if anyone noticed, but one of the brainstorming techniques in the memoir unit was make writing. Like it was like the last slide. And then someone else said, like another member said, I'd love more stations. And so like more, you know, lessons where kids are moving and interacting and talking, and because it sounds to me like they need that.
Right. I haven't even had a chance to look at the memoir unit yet. So I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to fit it in with the global read aloud coming. I mean,
and maybe you don't. Maybe
yeah.
you'll save it for another time, or maybe May.
I'd like to, because, but I'm going to see if I can sneak it in before that or whatever, or afterward or something. But
Unstoppable Me. I have not heard of that. So Amy put in the comments, there's a picture book called Unstoppable Me. It may spark a good conversation about this topic to make them aware of what is happening. Two writing keepers. I love that blog. Where do
I see the comments? Do I click on the chat thing?
Yeah, you just click chat and the comments will pop up. It's really cool. Yeah, because people are, you know, even though they're not on camera, they're still doing, which is really awesome.
Okay.
Unstoppable.
So Donna asked about what was the book you recommended on make writing. It's the Angela Stockman book. Is that right? Is she the one, Amanda?
Yeah, and she is amazing. And she has a really great Facebook group where and she's on Twitter. But it's pretty simple. I mean, it's not anything complicated. It's basically, she has these things called fire starters. Mm-hmm. And basically a fire starter is, you say, how might you show blank with these materials? And then you list like loose parts materials, like Legos, Post-its, clay, wire, paper clip, whatever you have on hand. And so what I just recently did was, how might you show a life lesson? And do you know who was all at the Legos? It was all the boys. There were like 5 boys crowded around the Lego box. And at first I was like, oh my gosh, they're just wasting time. Like they should be writing right now. Like they're just playing. They're not, but the power of it came when I talked to them. Like I interviewed them and I had my phone and I was like, so how is this giving you ideas for your memoir? And tell me more about that. And what did, and they were telling me about and they actually like had a reason for why they built what they built. And they were like going into detail and with my prompting and elaboration. And so hopefully that will transfer into their writing. And so I think that's kind of the basis of it.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna look into that. I think that might be something that would really help my kids.
Yeah, it's called Hacking the Writing. She has 2 books, Make Writing and Hacking the Writing Workshop.
Okay.
And she's in our Facebook group, Meg. So you can
great.
talk to her.
Okay.
Yeah, not in our members group, but
not in the other one. Okay.
Yeah, I invited her to because I did a video on Make Writing in the workshop Inspiration for Upper Grade Teachers group. Yeah, and I definitely need to write a blog post about like just how kids really, they do want to just be kids. And like I asked my daughter, how's kindergarten? I hate it. I just want to play. And I'm like,
well, so we have buddy time once every other week. And our 5th grade buddy class is kindergarten. And I just came up with a little activity they could do with them. And our division head of the K to 5, our lower school, part of our school, came in and she's like, Meg, this is like the most engaged your kids have been all week. Like they were having so much fun just playing with their buddies. And I think it's like you said, sometimes they just want to be kids.
Yeah. Well, and you could have them write about it afterwards, like I feel like they're more energized.
In kindergarten. What kindergarten is compared to like when I went to kindergarten, which was all play.
Yeah.
They're expecting kids to do now.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Okay. My brother says, as one of those boys who disrupted classrooms, I tended to have my quieter moments next to the windows. I have a tendency to disengage next to the window though. So maybe that isn't the best option. So looking out a window.
Okay. Thanks, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think so the 1, 2, 3 magic, the last thing I'll say is I feel like the listen book is all about like special time and building relationships and playing with your kids. But the 1, 2, 3 magic is all about like, don't be emotional. Don't talk too much. Like don't talk too much and don't the 2 biggest mistakes that parents make apparently is talking too much because then they allow for kids to argue.
And teachers talk too much.
Like explaining and reasoning and just, nope, you cross the line. This is the consequence. And so like what I've been doing with my daughter is that's 1. So like if she starts whining or any sort of obnoxious behavior, I just say that's 1. And she like responds immediately. Like I've not gotten a 3 yet. Wow. And I don't even know what I'd do when I got to 3. Like in the book, they say timeout. I hate timeout.
I know.
But I'll tell her like, that's 1. And I tell her what will happen if we get to 3. Like we were at the festival and I said, we're leaving if I get to 3, so it's like a obvious consequence. Like if I get to 3, this is what's going to happen. Like after you say that.
So I have a funny story and it's a really short one. When my kids were little, I have twin girls who are now 30, 31, but when they were little, and I don't know, they were playing in our little playroom and it was just like sock, poke, punch or whine, whine, whine. And I like said all the things that parents say. And I said, okay, girls, I'm going to have a timeout. And I walked out the front door and sat on the front step and like it changed everything because like I wasn't doing the same thing over and over. And they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I need a break or I'm going to do something that I'm not going to be very proud of. Like I'm going to get mad and I'm going to lose my temper and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go sit on the front step and they stopped arguing. They were like staring out the window at me.
Yeah. Like turning time out into like a positive thing.
Yeah. I'm like, I need this because I'm tired of like kind of whining, whining back at you when you're whining. So I'm going to take a break. And like, they're like, come back in now. I'm like, well, do you think you can play better? Or do you think you can? They were like, we'll try.
That made me think of something else. I have a meditation station. I don't know if you've heard of Building Book Love, Ashley Bible. I love her.
Okay.
She's a high school teacher. Her resources are just so brilliant. It's mainly for high school teachers, middle school teachers, but she posted somewhere, I think on Facebook or maybe Instagram, I don't know, maybe on her website, like a meditation station. And so basically I just put, like, I got sand and some rocks and like a little tray thing and some succulent, like fake succulents from Hobby Lobby. And now I have a meditation station. And I like told them like expectations and only one
Calm
person can
corner,
be
which is
there.
kind of the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe that could help.
Yeah.
Like that could be an incentive for those
Yes.
employees. Or
I made a calm corner, and I see Kelly's posting that I got a calm app for free, and I'm starting to use it with my kids. And I have a card deck of like kind of yoga mindfulness things, and we try, so maybe but everyone should know that the calm app, because that's expensive. The memberships are like $99 a year, and if you're an educator, you get it for free.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So do that, because they have music. They have really, like, they have 1 minute or 3 minute meditations you could use.
Yeah. Cool. Well, see, I think this is a really important topic, and hopefully people who are watching the replay too will benefit from it, because I know you're not the only one that's having these issues with kids who just like can't calm down or can't stop talking. Have you heard of Cult of Pedagogy? She has
yes, Jen. I follow everything she does. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I've met her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's so down to earth.
She's not in San Francisco though, right? She's like in Tennessee or something, or Kentucky.
She's in Kentucky. So I met her at the Teachers Pay Teachers conference.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she is. I love her podcast. She's one of the people that convinced me that I needed to start a podcast. But I haven't been very consistent with it lately because I've been doing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that you jumped right to questions. So does anyone else want to like ask a question or come on and talk about like an issue they're having, like Meg did? Thank you, Meg, for.
Sure. Well, thank you for listening, and got everyone else who kind of posted things. And I love the resources you mentioned. I'm going to look those up. Thank you.
And you too. I'd never even heard of Global Read Aloud.
Yeah, it's great. So I hope maybe people will look into that too.
Well, if anyone else wants to come on and chat, just unmute yourself and just click those red buttons, and then your face will show up, and your well, while we're waiting. Oh, hi, Kirby. I see Kirby and Jody.
I think the two main questions that I have, I hope I'm not jumping over Kirby, they're just really quick, is I teach honors students, 10th grade. And so I think for me, the way to really challenge them, like what are those within the workshop forum, within the format, to give them sort of what they need, which is to feel really challenged, although I know that they struggle with writing. And then the second was, in what ways do you, I see you mentioning often that you fluctuate between reading units and writing units. And so I guess I was wondering a little bit more like exactly what that looks like, or how that looks like for you in the classroom or for others in the classroom. And if they don't fluctuate, I'm on the block. And so what would that look like doing it all in one classroom? Although it seems to feel really rushed, which is what I've been doing. So that doesn't have to be answered today, but those are like my essential questions moving forward.
Okay, so your two questions are, how do you challenge your honors students? And then just trying to fit in reading and writing units and maybe combine them? Is that?
I love the idea of doing reading, like focusing on reading. Let's say we're in book clubs, and then that would be like, for example, my thought is we'll write about fiction, because in order to do it, then they'll understand it better. And then we'll have a reading unit. Then we'll move into our book club unit, like in the 180 days. So around week 6, move into that book club unit. Does that make sense? So that's what I'm fleshing out initially.
Yes, that makes
But I
sense.
haven't gone past that.
Yeah. And I really do believe that like honors classes, I mean, all students, one way to really challenge them is to raise the level of the literature you're providing them and discussion skills. I feel like that is something that all kids struggle with, and like learning how to respond to more advanced literature and learning how to like actually have meaningful conversations about that literature, and then take the inspiration you gain from that discussion and use it as like maybe a thesis for like a literary essay. And I think it's January, which I don't know. I can totally change around the weeks or the months that we do things, but January was when I was going to put out the book club literary essay unit. So it's like a combination kind of unit where it's, reading a book and then writing a literary essay. So it's one unit, kind of like what you're saying, except you were saying you write fiction, you really analyze fiction and maybe fictional short stories, mentor text, and then you go into reading an actual like fictional novel. Is that kind of what you were going to do?
Yes, that's what I was thinking. That was my thought.
Yeah. Struggling with interacting with each other. Because, okay, so a lot of my colleagues do Socratic seminars. And I feel like they're so high stakes, because the kids I don't know if you've ever done a Socratic seminar. Have you done Socratic seminar?
I participated in one, but I lean a little bit more towards the Harkness method.
Okay.
Because it's less teacher-led. It's more student-directed.
Yeah. And I've never even used the Harkness method. So you would be like, what resources are you using? Like, is there a website or?
Betsy Potash from the Creative Teachers. Yep. And I know that she mentions you often. She really has a lot of good resources on how to implement a really good plan on how to implement the Harkness method. So we'll be launching that in the next couple of weeks, just generally talking about our reading units and having it low stakes, and then using that discussion method throughout the year, because it is all student directed.
Yeah, and that's what I love. And I read a book called Whole Novels for the Whole Class by Ariel Sachs. And I love that book because have you read it? Because she really advocates for having students read the whole book before you really have any sort of like meaty discussions about the book, and that they kind of self-pace. And you give them a calendar and you say, okay, you need to have this book read by this date. Now you chunk it out with your group, come up with some points before that due date where you kind of come together and have like check-in discussions, but don't really have that deeper level discussion until the very end. I don't know if is it Harkness? Does that sound? And they come up with the questions. And
yes, essentially you have a little warm-up session, and then and you are just kind of sitting tight. You could have a certain topic, right? So we're gonna maybe theme today or whatever, and then you sit tight, and really you have an observer. The essential thing is there's one observer who kind of has a circle. He draws a circle, and his job is to really plot who's speaking in the class and how, right? And then so then the observer at the end makes one observation and one recommendation, all general, obviously not calling out any one student. And so then for the next Harkness method, we mentioned what that recommendation was and try to implement that recommendation. So over time, they're creating like more meaning in their conversations.
That's
And
awesome.
it creates a lot of equity. It really focuses on that equity piece.
Equity maps. Have you heard of that app?
No.
Okay.
I'm ready.
There's some sort of app that I heard about from Cult of Pedagogy. Jennifer Gonzalez, she had a post about like the 6 ed tech tools you should use in 2019 or something. And I think there was one called Equity Maps, and that observer student could use that. So it's like super easy to find out like who's talking to who. I don't know.
Yes, perfect.
But I love that idea that students are the ones giving the feedback and they're the ones kind of teaching each other. That's brilliant. I don't know. Sometimes you will ask me these questions and instead of me helping you, you're helping me because I've never even heard of doing something like that.
Well, I think that's the beauty of the collaboration because I'm
Yeah.
on an island. I'm the only teacher doing workshop in my school. So I'm really relying on this group and other groups to teach me and kind of copy what you, just like a mentor text. You guys are my mentor text for now. And I just kind of really listen and take it all in and then try things and some will work and some won't.
Yeah. Yeah. So, did I even answer your question? I don't know. Meeting honors.
It's okay. I think it's a long-term question that maybe we'll get to and maybe the group can help us get to with their as well. So I didn't need an answer today.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of like Meg's question is so huge too, in terms of like behavior. And I think it's really great for you all to be bringing these things up because we can also bring them up in the Facebook group. And people can share resources in the comments in like Facebook group threads, you know? So yeah. Did Kirby want to come back on? Is Kirby still here? I know that she was going to come on and then, hi Kirby. I don't know if I can hear her. Should I unmute her? Unmute Abby. I just unmuted you, Kirby. I just unmuted you. I'm the only one at my school who does workshop. Yeah. And I think that's hard. But I feel like some teachers are doing workshop and they don't even realize they're doing it, you know? And I think workshop is just, it's very student centered. It's very much like because you do a mini lesson, you know, and you're only teaching direct instruction for 10 minutes. And then the rest of the period is like you among your students, you know, and I bet a lot of teachers are already doing that. They just don't, you know, you're among your students, you're teaching them in the moment what they need in the moment. Okay, Kelly has a question. I wonder if Kirby's going to come back. Okay, Kelly has a question. I'm just going to read her question. I do have a question when we are ready for another one. Sometimes when I'm circulating for writing workshop, I spend time with certain kids, and it's really hard to find something in their writing that's worth sharing in the author's chair at the end. So sometimes I find myself caught without anyone in mind to share at the end. And sharing is something I'm trying to get better at. Any ideas on types of things I can look for in terms of sharing that I may not be thinking of? That is so awesome that you are doing an author's chair at the end, Kelly, because I think I've mentioned before that I'm horrible at like the closure end of the period because it's like we're always running out of time. And it's like, oh my gosh, they need to have enough time to clean up. Like we can't share. I don't, do you always do author share? Because I don't always do like have one student share in front of the whole class. Like sometimes I think you can just have them share with a partner. And then I guess when it comes to conferring and like, what do I say that's positive? Like I need to start with something positive. I need to say something positive to this student. I think like often I'll default to, you're writing. Look at you. You have a sentence. That's so awesome. Tell me about this sentence. Like even that, like I'll like default to that if I can't think of anything. But that's just kind of my personality. Some of them kind of look at me like, really? You're proud of me writing a sentence? Yes, I am. Writing's hard. Okay, let's see. Lots of comments. I hope that, so how about having each child find one line they are proud of? Golden lines. I feel like that's a phrase from Lucy Calkins, maybe, finding golden lines. How about having each child find one line they are proud of from their writing for the day, and then each child share that line? Does that mean, yes. And you could even have like everyone read their line in like a circle. Share, partner, small group. If time, I'll ask for volunteers to share a whole group. So maybe I need to tell them some days we will do it as a whole group, but maybe not every day. Yeah. Because I think sometimes like the same kids are always the ones that want to share, and the same kids are always the ones that don't want to share. Share beautiful sentences, yes, or cool things from the novel they are reading. Yep. And is that a Kelly Gallagher thing? Sharing beautiful sentences from what they've read or from mentor texts, not even from their writing, but from other. Yeah, Kelly Gallagher. I love Kelly Gallagher. See, I would like to meet him someday. And Penny Kittles someday. The book Don't Forget to Share was recommended to me. I'm waiting for it to write. Ooh, don't forget to share. That is exactly what I need. Because the closure part of workshop is my weakness. To share. Struggles, yeah, sharing struggles they had to, and just being honest about how hard writing is. Feeling brave, sharing mistakes they've made, sharing places they've gotten stuck. Yes, Amy, that sounds very familiar. Did I write that? Okay, yes, that would be awesome. Good idea. Okay, did Kirby get her question asked? What do we do later? Feel free to come on, Kirby, if you want. Okay, so I know we only have like 8 more minutes. This has been such a great, I love you all for coming and just spending your Saturday with me. My question was regarding splitting time between reading and writing workshop. Zach, you're so awesome putting all these links. Splitting time between reading and writing workshop. Yeah, so I have 54 minutes and my students walk in immediately and they read their choice book. That's how I'm doing reading workshop right now. So during that 10 minutes, they are reading the book that they chose to read. And I also try and fit in a book talk. So I try and recommend a book from my library. And just constantly, like if I notice a student not reading, I'll go up to them and say, hey, why don't we pick a new book? You don't seem that into this book. So just trying to recommend books and get good books into kids' hands. And just, finding out, like kids are really honest about what they if they like reading or don't like reading. And I think they feel comfortable telling me that because I always start with the story at the beginning of the year about how I didn't read. And Zach knows this. I grew up watching MTV. Like, our parents didn't read. We didn't read at all. I hated reading. And so I tell my students this. And I tell my students, like, I totally can relate with them, and like looking, like, who wants to look at this tiny little print? Like, who spends their time doing that? I totally get it. But when you find a book that you love, you are going to read it, and you are going to just like read it fast and read the whole thing. And maybe that hasn't happened to you yet or for you yet. I don't know. I feel like reading workshop, I talk a lot about like trying to develop a reading life and reading habits. And then in the book club unit, that's when we really start to get into like analyzing literature and responding to it and discussing it and author's craft moves and things like that. And then during a writing unit, we do reading with mentor text, analyzing mentor text. I hope that this answers your question, Kirby. And I'm sure other people have thoughts too, if anyone wants to come on. I see Meg's on here. We spend a majority of our time writing and improving writing, but would love to spend time analyzing their own book through stations or something. Yeah. Or emulating their author. One of my favorite projects when I was in high school was we picked an American author and we had to read like 3 books by that author. This was like my senior year of high school. And then we had to emulate the author. It was really cool. Okay, I mean.
Amanda, can you see me? Oh, good. Okay, yay. My kids aren't running around anymore, so I have a quiet moment. Hey, I have a quick question for you. If you, so I do a lot of read aloud with the kids, and so let's say I want to read aloud a mentor text before the mini lesson. Is that part of the mini lesson? Or do you like read it aloud at a separate time of day and then your 10-minute mini lesson is on that read aloud?
It is not. So like sometimes, sorry, there's a helicopter. That's why I muted myself. Sometimes I will just like, kids will walk in and I'll say, today's a reading day. And I just like, we just spend the period, they get to read their own book and then I read out loud to them. And I think that reading out loud, especially your main mentor text, is really important because, you know, special ed kids and like expecting them to understand everything in the mentor text. And you get, I don't know, I think kids, especially middle and high school kids, still need to hear adults reading to them, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, no, we don't do workshop on those days.
Okay. I was just curious. I have my kids all day. I sort of like Meg, where I have fourth graders, so we have younger kids. So I've been trying to like fit all of it in and like read and then quick do a mini lesson and then quick do and it just seems like it's a little rushed sometimes.
Yeah, don't try and fit it all in. It's too hard. I feel like we need to be like calmer. Because I think if we're calmer and we're not rushing around, the kids will, you know, like when I'm frantic, the kids are frantic. They feel it. I don't know. It's good to talk to you, Amy. I feel like we've been.
I have to tell Meg that I appreciated her modified version of Launch for the younger kids. I loved some of the videos and things that she referenced. So.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'm making, so we can work together, Amy. I'm kind of making more ideas. That's nice that there's another, you know, teaching the younger kids too. So that'll be fun for us.
I'm thinking to go to narrative before memoir as soon as the launch unit's over.
Right, and I'm thinking kind of that too.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the narrative unit just yet because I'm still trying to launch.
Yeah, it's in that folder. So I just included it in the memoir folder. Mm-hmm. So you can just click it and then there's just totally different mini lessons from the memoir. Because I tell my students that memoir's an advanced version of a personal narrative. Like a personal narrative is like the start of a memoir, basically. A memoir is more just spanning a larger amount of time and has more reflection and insight into, you know, who they are and how the experience changed them and things like that. That's awesome. So you're in the Facebook group too, because you all wanted to be on Voxer, right? Do you want to, are you on Voxer?
I don't know what that is. I've never
Oh,
used
it's so cool. I talk to my brother on it all the time, but I think he gets annoyed because I leave really long messages. It's a app. It looks like this. Can you, I wonder if you can see this. It looks like,
what?
it looks like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
I
I see it.
have used that before.
It's like a walkie-talkie, but you can also text. And I know, I can't remember who was in our email thread, Meg.
Yes, that was, I'm drawing a blank. Someone else who was in, Andrea? No. That was the last time. I don't remember who it was now. I feel like it was with an A.
Maybe I'll post in the Facebook
Okay.
group, like, who's interested in a Voxer group,
Yeah.
and explain what Voxer is. And then,
And if there's interest, maybe we could have if it ends up being that there's several interests, well, I'm just thinking if we wanted to do one that was for maybe grades like 4, 5, 6 or 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, just depends how much interest there is, I guess.
yeah, I do love Voxer. Yeah, I think that would be a great idea, like by grade level for sure. Yeah, my best friend, she lives in Chicago, and I met her online, and her name is Amanda, and we talk on Voxer every day. Oh my gosh, there's a squirrel. Sorry. It's like finding. Okay, so I think I'm going to make my tech announcement in the Facebook group and kind of ask everyone, because I've been getting a lot of emails about just how hard it is to find the curriculum. And I'm thinking about transferring everything to a different website.
Yeah, when you said like the personal narrative unit was in it, when you say it's in the memoir unit, like where would I find that?
Okay, let me share my screen.
Okay.
You're going to see yourself, I think. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so here's the memoir unit. So when you go to the when you go to your membership,
Yep.
let's see. So to get to your membership, you go to store account, and then you log in. But I'm thinking about changing all of this. You go to my memberships, and then here is everything.
Right.
Does this look familiar? But
yeah. So, but I mean, like I see, you have with that memoir unit's right there. But where is right. If I click on that link, is there a personal narrative unit within that?
Yeah. So when you click download unit,
okay,
it will download a zip drive or a zip folder,
okay, I did
and then
that.
this is the folder, and then it is right there.
Got it.
Do you see it?
Yep.
So, and then it's right there. So it's like
Perfect.
a folder within a folder within a folder.
Okay.
So yeah, but I'm thinking about I don't know. So you know the course, I don't know how many of you have been into the course. Let me see. Have you been in a course at all, Meg?
I mean, yeah, so I did one of your, I've been in the course. I can't remember when I was last in it, but I feel like I download stuff and I put it in an Amanda Right Now folder, and then I forget I mean, I should probably just use what you have there, but I get confused because I move stuff around on my desktop and then I forget what I want to do. And so I get a little confused too.
Yeah. And that's why I want everything to be like really, really easy to find.
Right.
And like accessible. And so I'm thinking about putting everything in one place. Because right now it's like you log into my website, you log into the course,
And I get confused, like what's what. Like I'm in this teacher membership, but I also, like I've also done one of your courses, and I also bought a bundle before I signed up for the teacher membership on teachers on something else. So I get a little bit lost. And anytime I think we get overwhelmed, we tend to like shut down.
Yeah. Well, and also the lessons, they have links to Google Docs, and they have links to Google Slides, and then within the folders, there's Word docs, and there's
Right.
PowerPoints, and it's like I'm giving, people who like Google can do Google, people who like PowerPoint can do PowerPoint. But I don't know. So I'm just trying to, and I love your feedback. I know it's 5 after, and I want to respect everyone's time, but if anyone would be willing to like email me and tell me what they're thinking, because yeah, I just want it to be really easy, and I don't, and also like just the units, and I love, like, gave a survey to get feedback from everyone, and it seemed like everyone really likes the units at a glance the most, which was not even what I was planning on including with anything. It was just kind of, so I don't know, we'll see. But thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you, Amanda.
For contributing. And and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in the Facebook group.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, I'm going to click end meeting. I'm going to wait a little bit until everyone, because I don't want anyone's comment to be cut off. All right, bye.